All right, I'm recording.
I am as well. So I'll start us off. I'll just say,
Get
hey
into it.
everybody, I am with Tony. By the way, little collab that we've got going on for the Christmas season here. So I figured let's have a chat about Linux, about open source stuff, about wherever the winds blow us. And yeah, I know that we have a little bit of overlap of audience because like every single time you post a video, there's people in my IRC channel that are like, Tony's new video. I'm trying out his window manager. I'm like, nice.
They are industry plants from my side of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've got a lot of fans of your channel too, and I have a Discord for right now, as we talked about before. It's proprietary garbage, but I still have one just to kind of have people, be able to communicate to each other using that software or whatever until they realize that IRC is the way. And they always talk about your Emacs stuff. Like I've got a couple guys that are really into Emacs. And they're like, oh, I've watched System Crafters and I watched Joshua. And I'm like, Joshua Based? They're like, yeah, Joshua Based. Is that his last name? I'm like, yeah, it's officially his government last name.
It could absolutely be my last name. Yeah, that's to be mentioned in the same breath as System Crafters. That's pretty nice, man. I'm not gonna lie. So,
well, there's 3 Emacs YouTubers total. So I mean, you're in the top 3.
True. It's me, Protozillos, and System Crafters.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. And then DT if you want to count him, but he's using evil mode just like you probably. So
I'm a heretic. Yeah, dude. I am. So.
But Prot. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but
Protozillos, I think.
Protestant Emacs user. He's really based. Actually, I saw his interview with Linkarzu, and then I've watched like so many little random one-off videos from him about his little packages that he makes with like 1,000 parentheses.
Yeah.
They're so good.
Yeah, he's actually like I don't want to say he's a mainline contributor, but he definitely manages numerous Emacs packages. So
yeah,
he's the real deal. I have yet to do that, and maybe one day. But
I'm envisioning in 2029, which is not so far away. If you know the arc, you'll probably be on Geeks at that point.
Let's talk about that.
Is that on your notes? I'm curious.
Well, I have Nix. on my notes, but Geeks is logically for somebody that's an Emacs user, it feels like it would be kind of up the alley.
Yeah,
it does feel like it would be up the alley. What are your
I have a guy in my Discord that constantly spams me like, when are you going to make your Geeks video? When are you going to make your Geeks video? And I'm like, I'll make it eventually, but it's just I've got so many things in the pipeline. But he's like such a big Geeks fan.
Yeah,
he had me add a Geeks emoji and everything. But yeah, I think for Geeks, it seems like it's from what I've tried with it. It seems like it's just so slow, at least for compiling packages or just downloading and installing packages. But other than that issue, I don't think it's really got an issue. I think it's pretty similar to Nix. I mean, you don't have flakes, but you've got your own little variant of flakes. So you can still like lock and vendor your packages. So I think it's pretty much going to be like, if you're super into Lisp in that style, I think you're going to love Guile and Scheme. And I think
there's even plugins into Emacs for Geeks, is my understanding. So that would be very, very nice for like package management inside of Emacs. Yeah. Like you could literally live inside Emacs. So,
well, the only thing you're missing again, because you're on Hyperland, right? As of right now, or no? Yeah, because I know EXWM is not very good, right?
The issue I had talked about this with on stream actually with I want to say Linkarzu and even DistroTube was in that episode.
And TJ, right?
Yes, and I said the issue with EXWM is that Emacs is single threaded, so you get a hanging thread and your whole window manager goes down, right? So for a window management system, that's not super ideal. However, I made a post about this and it actually blew up on Hacker News, and people were like, literally, it was very polarizing. It was like, you don't know what you're talking about, or the other people are like, that's exactly why I don't run EXWM. So people are like, it's one side or the other. It's probably because my Emacs is not hyper optimized. I probably need to work on that config, make it a full-time job a little bit more. And
but I think if you because I watched your video, like how my whole life is basically, the title was something akin to my whole life is in Emacs.
Yeah.
Or why I'm putting my whole life in Emacs.
It's my computer now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like the only thing you're missing is that window manager, but dude, you don't need like every part of your, I don't know. It's like saying I want my processor to be Emacs somehow.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. I think that it kind of breaks the Unix philosophy when you start doing like the opinion that Emacs actually doesn't go against the Unix philosophy is an interesting one too, because as a Lisp interpreter, it does what it does very well. It's not actually, it doesn't say it's a text editor. It doesn't say it's an email client, right? It's just a Lisp interpreter. And it does that one task very, very well. But as soon as you use it to manage Windows and all that extra stuff, I think that you're kind of, I think you're running up on the guardrail of what is Unix philosophy versus not Unix philosophy, I suppose. And I'm not I'm not super married to the Unix philosophy either, but
I'm curious though, like, does FFmpeg break the Unix philosophy? Just like for exactly what you're saying, right? It could be used for a million different things, but it does one thing and does it right.
Yeah.
Just like you said, it's a Lisp interpreter.
I think I think that it's such a, I don't know, it's such a subjective, like system D.
Also,
system D is the one that always gets brought up, right?
Yeah,
it's like, oh, system D is not Unix philosophy because it manages so many processes, blah, 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 blah. It's like, I don't know. I don't really have a dog in that fight, I suppose. Like maybe I'm just not far enough down the rabbit hole, but I don't know.
Does it actually matter though? Like that's the question.
I don't know.
At the end of the day, like you're using a computer, you want it to do what you want it to do, right?
Yeah.
Like, do you need to? Does your init system have to be compliant with the Unix philosophy for you to, make money on your computer as a job? Like, let's say you have a job and you need your computer to like function as like a way for you to use your, to do your job.
Yeah.
If your init system isn't compliant with, the Unix philosophy, is your boss going to say, well, hang on a minute, your init system here looks like it's a bit of a monolith.
Yeah,
so your paycheck's going to go, you're dock your pay a little bit, They're going to give you an ISO with like, run it or on it or something like that,
Yeah, like I've never run Gentoo, right? So like, I think that that's one thing that like people that run that sort of thing, they get super into that, right? Like I can compile my kernel, I can make it do this and this and this, right? Like, for me, I've never really experimented with that. And I've tried to run, like Artix in the past, which is obviously the fork of Arch, which is systemd free. You can choose, run it, whatever the other ones.
I think S6 and maybe I think OpenRC is available on Artix as well.
Correct. Yes. And I don't know, man, like learning systemd in and of itself for me is like, I don't know. I feel like it's enough, I guess.
I mean, every job I've ever had, because I feel like 99% of systems are on systemd. Every job I've ever had, I've needed to know like systemctl status, blah blah blah, or like systemctl restart, Apache or whatever, and it's all that stuff you can learn all those like translations to, and run it and all that stuff. I think people complain about systemd because they think it's trendy to complain about something that's like mainstream or whatever, like, oh, Mac OS is mainstream, so let's complain about that. Yeah. It's a different thing though. You know what I mean? Systemd, maybe it's ubiquitous and bloated and a monolith or whatever, but it's like, I would always ask that person who's complaining about systemd, what do you not like about systemd? And then it ends up being a pretty quick path to them just saying, well, I just heard bad things about it. Like, okay.
Yeah, it's not actually like a first person opinion. It's almost like I heard it on, X image board, so therefore it's bad, right? So that actually brings me into one of my questions that I wrote down is 2026 the year of Linux?
You mean was 2026 the year of Linux?
Yeah, sorry, because we're already in 2027. So
yeah, so 2026. Okay, so it's the year. Okay, so actually I saw a video or a poll saying that like 6.1% of desktop users are already on Linux. I don't know if that's valid though, because it came from like a different, it was more of an alternative website, we'll call it.
Sure.
That was polling their users.
Yeah.
We'll leave it at that, I guess. But yeah, I don't know if you saw what I saw or whatever, but yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, no. So I'm curious, like, okay, so let me answer that question with this. Are you somebody who are you like an evangelist, as far as like, I want my neighbor to be on Linux. I want, my wife or girlfriend to be on Linux. Like I need my dad to be on Linux. Like I want my grandmother on Linux. Or are you okay with just you using Linux? And then if somebody says, hey, what are you doing? Like, oh, I'm on Linux. And then they say, oh, and then you teach that person about it.
See, I want what's best for everybody. So I want everybody to be on OpenBSD.
So exactly. So we're talking about the year of Linux is actually past. It's deprecated, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're moving into the year of BSD, but
we need to go farther.
Exactly. No, I'm personally like, I've never, I mean, this is another question, like how you got started on Linux, but like I started in like 2017, 18, I guess, right? So,
Yeah.
you know, desktop Linux is at that time 2% maybe, right? And seeing it balloon as much as it is, I mean, I'm in a bubble, right? So I feel like Linux is so much more ubiquitous today than it was 5 years ago. I feel like a lot of people are using it and using it well, to the point where, like, well, I mean, frankly, why are you using Mac or Windows in 2028 when you have Linux as the state that it currently is? Right?
Yeah, and I have a lot of thoughts on this, actually.
Yeah,
especially with recent, like, I don't know if you're familiar with a YouTuber called Cold Fusion.
I am.
He makes, okay, perfect. Yeah. So he did a really good series on, like, where does money come from, and then he did a follow up, like, about it, basically saying, like, what, you know, and we'll get into that later. But the reason I brought that up is because recently he did a video about Microsoft and Windows 11 and how Microsoft is. My theory, based on that video, but also based on what I've heard, is that it's going to be a reverse situation in about 10 years, 5 to 10 years. It'll be Windows will be like where all, like, the business side of things goes, and, like, all the system servers and all that stuff is going to be on Windows, and all the users are going to be on Linux. The reason I think that is because you look at Steam right now, and it actually runs better on Linux. A lot of Steam games are better on Linux because the Steam Deck is a fork of Arch, not a fork per se, but Steam Deck is on Arch Linux, by the way. So it's like kind of pretty cool. So they have the Steam PC that's coming out, and, like, all these Steam games are already on Linux, and, like, you can just, when I tried to run a Steam game on Linux 10, 12 years ago, yeah, good luck, you know. That's a pipe dream. But you could do it. It's just in your repository. It's just default, unless you're on Debian, which is 5 years behind of things, but it's just default. You know, you just open up your Pacman and install Steam, and then you just get this Vulkan driver or whatever. You just click a button and you just start playing Counter-Strike 2 or whatever the kids are playing these days. I don't really play games as much, but I know it's available on Linux now. So, and I see a lot of people that are, like, you know more about graphics than I do, that tell me that, like, hey, these are actually some pretty good benchmarks for Linux compared to Windows. So much so that I have one guy that I know in my Discord that actually has he's on Linux. He's on I don't know, Fedora or something like that. And then he has a VM that opens Windows that runs better because it has this GPU passed through to it through QEMU than regular Windows. So he was getting better frame rates on a VM through Linux. I'm like, that's
actually insane when you think about it.
I told him to make a video about it, but he's like, nah, I'm just gonna keep this to myself.
The only thing that's missing really on the gaming side, from my understanding right now, is essentially the anti-cheats. Is that certain games for online play are still obviously you're on a Linux OS. That's getting flagged and auto banned because of X, right? So I think that we're probably still a year or two away from gaming being completely ubiquitous, but I do believe that, like, there's going to be no moat around gaming as there was in 2017 when I started. Like, I don't think that that's going to be a valid reason for using Windows in the next 2 years, I would say.
Because you're talking about, like, have you ever played Valorant or heard anything about Valorant?
I've heard about it. Yeah.
So there's a couple games like Valorant and CS2 and stuff. Like, I don't know about CS2, but, like, for example, Valorant, when you install it, it injects, like, some anti-cheat system into your kernel. Like, it has to be on Windows for that, obviously. And I'm wondering, like, the people that are, because I don't think everybody that wants to use Linux in the future is going to care about free and open source software. I just think they're just going to want to use the better operating system, and they're going to be tired of Candy Crush ads in their start menu, you know? And on the Mac side of things, they might get tired of opening up Finder and not being able to find their home folder. But yeah, I mean, that stuff, dude, when you open up a Windows machine, it just forces all this AI, like Copilot stuff, like, down your throat. It doesn't even work. And it's like such a nightmare. I don't know how people are going to, because I don't know if you ever used Windows XP, but that was, like, so nice to work with. You know, you just open up Windows XP, you get that beautiful sound, or whatever, right? And then everything just worked. It's minimal, kind of actually felt like a nice, I called it a distro, but yeah. But nowadays, like, it's so not even a real thing. I can't even use a Windows 11. I can't even use one of those. Like, I feel like I'm rambling, but yeah, you know what I'm saying?
I feel like Microsoft is vibe coded, like, for the last 6 months of their, like the whole OS, from my third party understanding, is broken, right? Like, it's just, it is not serving the user, and people don't want that anymore. And people don't want the AI stuff. They don't want the advertisements. They want their computer to be their computer at the end of the day. And I think that is what's offered when you look at the Linuxes and the Unixes. You have that ability to just make it your own, whatever that looks like, right? So
yeah.
I don't know. Like as much as we talk about the O word and stuff, like I do think that there's been people that have looked at it as a valid alternative to Mac OS.
No, definitely.
Right.
And I think actually, Omarky, I actually think it's a good thing. So I've kind of come full circle on this. I initially didn't like it, like from my preferences.
Yeah.
But I do think it's actually a good thing for the community to have like, hey, this is a little ISO you can just throw on your computer and then it looks beautiful. So, I get that. But again, these infighting, everyone says you're infighting, you're gatekeeping. Somebody accused me of gatekeeping on one of these comments saying, oh, you're gatekeeping for having an opinion about a market. I'm like, dude, right. I've made literally like 50 tutorials for free about how to get into Linux and various different, how am I gatekeeping? I'm gates open. Come on, gates, come on in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the O word and everything, all that goes. I think we're elitists a little bit, where I'm like, oh, I don't want to use the O word because that's somebody else's dot files, and I've got my own dot files that I've been making for 20 years or whatever. And you've got your Emacs set up that probably no one can go over to your computer and use it functionally except you.
No,
so
it's really good if somebody steals your computer, right? Like,
yeah.
Like, what is this like? Because I have Kmonad set up, so like I use Comac DH on my keyboard for my laptop. So it's like if somebody stole my computer, they'd be like, "Why am I not typing in QWERTY?"
They probably think they're drunk. They start typing. They're like, "No, what's going on here?"
Exactly.
That's like your girlfriend yells at you because she tries to open up she's like, you're busy, and she's like, "Can I use your computer to search something real quick?"
So like, pissed off, man. She gets so pissed off.
You got to make a user for her on a home manager and have it like set up the QWERTY layout. Everything is so you know what I mean.
Are you actually serious about 20 years on Linux, or like when did you get started? Like, what does that look like for you?
Shit, actually, not 20 years. No, not 20 years. Okay. Actually, maybe.
What's your story, man? What's your story?
So, I may be 20 years. I was like 13 when I started Linux, maybe younger.
Okay.
My dad owned a computer store, so at his house we had always a bunch of various parts. And whenever I'd go to his house over the weekend, because my parents were divorced, my whole thing was I would try to like set up a functional computer that would work, so I could go online and play like Neopets or various Newground games like miniclip.com or like just random games.
Yeah.
Online. Yeah. And one day, I think to keep it brief, I guess, one day I went to his house and I built a computer for like the weekend and he helps me and stuff. And I got two brothers who were fighting over it. And I'm trying to load up Neopets or RuneScape at the time. And it's just like super laggy because it's just like the machine hardware is not that good. And it's some ISO, some like Russian pirated ISO of Windows XP. And so my dad says, here, try this. So he gives me Ubuntu ISO. So I load it up, I try it, and boom, Firefox is pre-installed on at the time. I open Firefox and it's blazingly fast. Like I can't believe I'm saying this, but Ubuntu was not bloated at the time.
Yeah.
So so I was loading up Firefox and I'm like, this is awesome. And then, that's how my first Linux, that was my first thing with Linux was Ubuntu, just to like play RuneScape and play play Neopets, whatever, right? And then you go back and you start thinking like, okay, how do I install something on Ubuntu? And then you search like that on Google, and then they tell you to open a terminal with Control-Shift-T or whatever, or Control-Alt-T, and then type sudo apt install, and then you just type the name of the program. So that to me was you mean I don't have to go to a website and click download and then install and then no thank you on all these like CC cleaner like bloatware, and then I could just install it from this terminal, and then that's what kind of started me and kept me there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that seems to be the terminal is obviously, I think, the big wow moment for a lot of people is like, I can just type these commands and get a package from, somewhere off on the internet, and I can script this, I can make this reproducible. I can, like what have I been doing for the last, that's crazy, man. So you're in your early 30s then, obviously, eh?
Yeah. I'm turning 34 in like a week.
Nice.
So should be interesting.
Similar ages. So
right on. Because you're 21, right?
I am 12.
So okay. So you're a minor.
Look at this beard, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's better than mine for sure. I had to trim it recently for like I don't even know why. It just was getting out of hand, But for example, for you, like when you type nix shell-p space name of program, and you know that as soon as you exit that shell, that's gone.
It's gone.
Does that not feel like a little bit of a boom, boom, boom moment again? You know what I'm saying?
Another point I wanted to talk about. Obviously, nix. Honestly, man, like I think everything that even like little scripts that I've been working on, I package them with a flake, and I can literally pull down from that repo with Nix and just go Nix run, the repo name and the argument that I need, and it runs. Like that's it's kind of
powerful.
It's so. I don't think like I can convey this to somebody that's like not in software or computers.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is that like you are now packaging software for anybody running the Nix package manager on effectively any system, because Nix is ubiquitous, right? Like it's not just the OS. It's not just the programming language. It's the package manager itself. You can run that on Mac. You can run that on anywhere, and it's all off of a GitHub repo. That some idiot like myself made, right? Like,
no, exactly. Yeah. And you can put the fact that you have like a DRM and everything, and like it works on ARM64 tech or like a Darwin or whatever. Yeah. And somebody else, like let's say you're making a project and somebody else wants to like add something to it. All they need to do if they know Nix is just like you said, Nix run or whatever. They can download the repo and just drop into a flake, and they have your exact environment. And you're like, okay, there's never going to be a problem of it works on my machine.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
There's never going to be a Docker dependency or hell issue or whatever. Yeah. And I mean, that's how I build everything now, is that everything has a flake, like right off the bat. Everything has a .envrc because I use direnv. So so you CD into the directory that you're working on, and the dependencies for that project are all immediately loaded into your environment. You can inject environment variables. You can do scripting within that flake. Like I don't know, man. Like,
and you can even like print some beautiful stuff to the top of the environment. Like, okay, here's some commands that are to build this. Zig build this.
You could explain the environment, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I love that part about the flake.
It is like, to me, it's a paradigm shift. Like I almost feel like Nix is a paradigm shift away from Linux, almost like it's a declarative. When you get into declarative stuff, you're like, this is, you had the moment when you started on Linux and you're like, why have I not been doing it this way forever? And then you have the declarative moment. You're like, why have I not been doing it this way forever?
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like I want to chase the next moment.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to explain this, but you remember the first time you watched Breaking Bad? I was assuming you watched it.
I have. Yes.
Okay. So have you ever found that moment in your heart where like you saw another TV show where you're like, oh my God, this is the next Breaking, you know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You see where I'm going with that? Like, it's
I do,
yeah. I don't know. I know Breaking Bad's proprietary garbage, but yeah, it's like, it's, it's like that time I watched Breaking Bad and I'm like, oh, I can't wait for the next episode to come out. It's like my friend that has just now started Breaking Bad. I'm like, dude, are you, they're having that feeling of, oh, I get to watch the next episode. And I'm like, I wish I could watch Breaking Bad for the first time again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's the, what's the word that I'm looking for? Not nostalgia, but novelty. It's the novelty, right?
But something about what you said, like you start off with just being able to install something from your terminal and you're like, okay, this is crazy. But then you get to what you're talking about where it's actually crazy. And you're like, okay, this is actually crazy. Like, this is actually insane. I can actually just have a perfect container here without using Docker.
Yep.
And anybody on any system can replicate this if they want to push it to open source or whatever. I have 5 different machines, so I can go to a different machine that'll be declaratively installed literally if you want to even go that way,
Yeah. Well, you can also deploy to any machine from your machine, which is nice.
Yeah.
That's super nice using deploy RS or Columna. I've been playing around with both of those, but like literally my entire fleet of machines now is Nix OS. Right. I know that you use VMs a lot. Is your base system Nix, or what are you running?
So I've got 3 Nix systems, 1 Gen 2 system and 1 Arch system, basically.
Okay.
So my main machine that I'm on right now is on Gen 2. That's what I'm talking to you on, but it'll probably be on Nix soon. I have a server that I use like as well upstairs that's on Nix, but I use it as more of a server and a machine as well. But and then all my laptops, 1 Nix, 1 Arch, and then So the thing is, like, I have too many computers, but for me, you know what I'm saying? Like, I need to test like all this stuff on different distros, and on Nix, I think it's the best way to do it because you can just hop into a distro box on Nix in an easy way. You can like make a module for it, and it's like I don't know. It's like almost like I will eventually replace all of my systems with just Nix OS. But I'm keeping a couple things on like older different distros. I call them legacy distros. I don't know if you ever
I have heard the legacy term, and I loved it because I was like, Arch is a legacy distro now, and I'm sure you triggered some people with that one.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I mean, it is a legacy distro. Basically, there's only two non-legacy distros. One is Geeks and one is Nix. So if you want to use like a non-legacy distro, like join the club, you know what I mean? But if you're on legacy distros, I'm going to give you instructions on how to install whatever for that legacy distro, but just know that your distro is not going to receive support in the next 5 to 10 years because it'll be a legacy distro, you know what I mean? So
I think that declarative is the way that things are going. Like, I think at the end of the day, when you see how impactful that is, and you're like, I just think back to, I started with Arch Linux, right? Like, the amount of commands that I ran in terminal that I completely forgot to replicate a system when inevitably that system didn't work any longer. I don't have to worry about that anymore. Like, my repository in GitHub, publicly facing, I can literally just go clone on any machine. And I did it the other day. I brought my workstation back to my home, and it was like 2 years out of date. And I'm like, okay, NixOS, there you go. Ready to go in 30 minutes.
Yeah, actually, I set up my server like that too. Like, I set it up before even setting it up. Like, I didn't even plug anything in. I just set up the config file, and then I'm like, all right, it should work in practice. And then I went over to set it up, plugged in a USB, started like typing some commands, and then I had like pretty much no errors and loaded up like a perfect machine exactly as I wanted it. Yeah. I'm like, okay, we're good to go. The only thing I was missing was like some secrets and stuff. Like, I don't want I don't know. I have certain things I don't want to be putting on like some Git repo. So I have like,
do you use, cause there's solutions for that. I use, what do I currently use? There's a way to encrypt Gitcrypt. So that will encrypt specific files in GitHub. So you can actually just literally upload a complete repository with those files encrypted. And then there is, what do I use? I use Aginex. Aginex.
Yeah, Agentx.
Yes. And that allows you to have a age key on your machine. That's the only thing that you would have to transfer over, because it's kind of like an SSH key. You don't really want to be putting that out there, but you take that and you can then have your secrets encrypted within the Git directory and publicly facing as well. And that key is what unlocks all of that. So I don't know if you
I haven't tested any of that stuff, just because for me, like, all of my machines are in my house, and I've got like a flash drive that I use for, so if anybody wants to come rob me, there is a flash drive in my house somewhere that it says GPG on it. So that's actually the decoy. That's a malware Bitcoin miner. So if you want that, take it. But yeah, no, I've got all my stuff I need like on a flash drive. So I just put everything on my machines, and then I have like stuff in my bash RC that like tells me to point to a local file that doesn't actually exist on the repo. And then I just put everything in there. So yeah. That if you wanted to SSH to my machine and steal all my stuff, you know where it is.
There you go.
So yeah.
I was definitely hesitant about it, but at the same time, like, I think that is, they use it in many, many different like fleet management stuff. Like, you're using that on like enterprise grade stuff. So I mean,
oh yeah, NASA probably uses it.
It has to be fairly decent, right?
Yeah. I bet the military industrial complex will be sending drone strikes using NixOS one day.
I'm thinking that isn't Palmer Lucky's or whatever, his company runs a bunch and they invest in Nix and stuff. I don't know all of this, but I
don't know. I'm not sure. I know Palantir is probably all on Red Hat, so
probably.
but yeah, we go down that rabbit hole. But yeah, it's just so interesting to me that there's like such a world of NixOS that people don't know about. Like, for me, even if you just use the default NixOS, like just the config file, no home manager, no flakes, just NixOS, you're already like experiencing like 1% to 2% of why it's so good. Because it's just, at that point, I will just say, and I'll get flack for this, but it's literally just Arch Linux at that point, but better. Because you could just, if you Pacman SYU and then you're saying, hold up, mom, I'm going to be late for a meeting. I accidentally have a broken package. You don't have to do that. You just roll back to the one before, go to your meeting, then you can fix it after. And then you'd be like, no, we're fine. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like already, and also it's better than Debian too,
right? I was going to say, you get Debian and Arch in one place. For free. Yeah, and you can roll back if you ever have any breaking changes. Like, I don't know, man. To me, it does seem like a no-brainer, but I mean, I could be an idiot, because I've definitely been an idiot before. So,
well, people like to say, and this is like, people like to say, oh, it's not FHS compliant.
Yes.
And then people also like to say that they don't like Home Manager or whatever, and I understand that.
Yeah.
And also they like to say because it forces you to use System D, like they won't use it. So those are the three. Okay, not the three. Those two arguments that you're locked into System D, and then you're also like it's not FHS compliant.
Yeah.
If you're actually need those two things, then don't use NixOS. That's what I would say.
Yeah, and I mean, really, FHS compliancy, from my understanding, and I mean, I am a create, read, update, delete monkey, right? So like I'm generally working in the browser. So I'm not using stuff that's hardware facing. But if you are working with the hardware, I do think that is potentially where you would run into issues, right? And I do know that graphics orientated stuff, sorry, my alarm was just ringing there.
No, you're good.
Graphics orientated stuff is where people run into issues with it as well. So,
well, I've had some issues with the FHS compliance stuff. Like, you just expect it. For example, like when you want to make an Arch package,
yeah,
you need an FHS. I don't even know, file hierarchy standard. Like I think is what it stands for.
Yes,
you need that. Like you need Etsy, you need like all that stuff. But you could just distro box that.
True.
I just distro boxed it, and then I just went in there and was like, okay, here's how I'm going to make my AUR package. I made an AUR package on NixOS through a distro box. Like, why would I go? Why would I do that on Arch? I don't need to do it on Arch. But also like there's a plugin for NixOS called NixLD. I think it's like some way to handle some FHS compliance issues. But again, as you said, like I mean, I made a window manager and it touches bare metal all the time, and I must not need FHS compliance because I developed that. Almost 90% of my development on that was on NixOS. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Let's talk about OXWM because you released a video about that. I think is that your most recent video?
I made a BSD video like a couple days ago.
We'll talk about that too. But no, the OXWM. So how was the development process for that? It is X11?
It's X11. Yeah. So it's a lot of it was okay. So yeah, I did a video on DWL, which is basically supposed to be a clone of DWM, but for Wayland.
Sure. And
DWM is like, I don't know if you agree with this, but I would say DWM is probably the best window manager for X11. Subjectively, in my opinion, but I have heard that. Yeah. I used to run BSPWM was my. So yeah. So BSPWM I think is also really good too. They're both really good. But DW. Okay, so long story short, DWM is what DWL is based off of, right? Allegedly.
Yeah.
But it's for Wayland, so it's like I was working on a video for it, and I had to like make sure that my DWL setup kind of matched my other setups, like my Hyperland setup or my DWM setup, and there's not that many patches for it because it's kind of like not as mainstream or whatever. It's not as like developed as DWM. Mm-hmm. So then I looked at the patches. I'm like, what I need is not in here, so I need to make my own patch. So which is fine. I'll just write some C, make a patch for what I need. It's a very small thing. So I'm looking at the variable names, and dude, the variable names are so terrible. You get like Selman. I mean, I know that means selected monitor, but I'm like, what is this? Selman? What is this? You get all these like two line IH, OH, I guess is inner horizontal, outer horizontal. But I'm just like, what's wrong with typing out the full variable name, like inner underscore horizontal? That's how I do things.
Yep.
So that's how it started. I was just complaining in my Discord to nobody. I was like, oh, this is terrible. Look at these variable names. And then one other guy was like, dude, yeah, those are trash, man. Just make your own WM. I was like, you know what? I will. So so of course I didn't make it in Wayland because it gets really hard. So yeah. I just started in X11. I'm like, I'm just going to rewrite DWM kind of, but in like, I'll do it in Rust, and then I'll kind of like make it so that it has a config file instead of needs to be compiled. And then I'll add some batteries included features. So basically that's what it turned into. And it became, my project for like 3 months or whatever. And I had some help from some of my guys in my Discord, like, helping out with the Rust side of things too. And one of my friends in Discord, he kind of made an error handler for me because I was abusing anyhow too much for that. So it's pretty nice. But yeah, we've come a long way with it. And I've been daily driving it for about a month on my main machine and 2 months on every other machine. So
it's good to go then, right? Like
I would say it's got some issues, but it's in beta, you know. So ever since I made that video, like I have had like more issues popping up because people are like playing games on it and they're like, oh, but this doesn't work. I'm like, I don't play games, so I don't know. But thanks for pointing that out.
Hey,
I'll check it out.
Pull request me, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's been awesome. Yeah, I've been using it. It's been fun. And on the X11 side of things, a lot of that's already documented. All the problems are solved problems. You can look at the code base of DWM or Qtile or Xmonad or whatever, and just kind of see what they do. And I don't know, you can read all the source code and say, hey, what's going on here? And like, it's got really good documentation on a lot of these window managers. So I just kind of took their ideas, kind of combined them into one, and just started working on it in a Rust project. And yeah, it was pretty fun.
That's dope, man. Yeah, like I have never even thought about doing something like that. So that is,
dude, you should try it, man.
I
try it in Zig.
I was gonna say, yeah, Zig is something that I am learning in my, over the Christmas break here. So maybe that'll be something to look into, because I needed something a little bit lower level, I feel like. Yeah.
Zig is perfect for that, I think.
You think so?
100%, yeah. If I could do it over again, I would do it in Zig. 100%.
So what's your opinion about this Zig versus Rust thing? Because I hear there is, some people are definitely jumping off the Rust boat to the Zig ship. I don't know if you've heard about that or not, but
yeah. Well, I mean, what do you think about Zig? Have you tried it? Have you been tinkering with it?
I am like very green with it. Like I'm doing like Ziglings, right? So I'm not not like there yet to have like an opinion. One thing I will say is I have some experience with Go, and I like the philosophy surrounding the simplicity of the language. I think that there is definitely something to be applauded there. With that being said, like I've never really done manual memory management myself or anything like that, because Go has that all kind of built in with you. The garbage collection, everything is kind of built in. So that's kind of been interesting to me. But yeah, I guess that would be my opinion of it thus far.
Yeah, in terms of Rust versus Zig, I think they're both solving different issues that C has basically, I think, right? I would say people on the Rust side of things, they have a borrow checking system, and like it's its own thing. It kind of feels like there's a garbage collector. That's what it kind of feels like when you're writing code, but there's not. So it's kind of this kind of magical thing where you write code and there's no garbage collector, but it feels like there is because you're using, Rust's borrow checking system or whatever.
Sure.
And the compile time error checking is good too. Like Rust's LSP is really, really good. Rust Analyzer. I don't know. Rust is like really, really like advanced, I think, is compared to 5 years ago.
I would say like, because I did like explore a little bit of Rust, and like 5 minutes into it, I was like, this compiler is nice. Like the errors that this thing throws is, I've never seen this before, right? Like I think that is something that that's about all I can say about Rust. But I do know people that write Rust, like they're very, I could be wrong about this, but very like safety forward. Like they really, they want to avoid the foot guns as much as possible.
Like the compiler will force you to, they put you get a bunch of guardrails, right? So Zig's trying to solve C in a different way. They think that for Zig, the mission statement, I don't know exactly what it is, but I've listened to the developer or the maintainer or founder or whatever named Andrew Kelly talk about this. He wants to solve it in a way where like the problems that he has with C are that like, he thinks it's silly that you have to write, like pound ifdef or like pound define. Like, why can't you just write const, name of file? And he literally cannot get an answer to that question. Every time he asks that question, they just answer him, oh, it's just that's because it won't compile if you don't do it like that. And he's like, okay, so let's just fix the compiler. So that's kind of how everything started with him. And I think you can kind of see it when you write Zig. You're like, okay, everything here, like you still have to, manually allocate memory, but there's different allocator types. So he has like a general allocator, and then you can use that like as needed, but there's different ways to allocate memory. And he's done a really good job with the language, I think, and he's continuing to work on it. It's in 0.15.2 right now, so it's not even on 1.0.
Right.
But I think it's been, because I've written C before, and it's like just everything just works. Then when you write C, you can just do it quickly. Yep. But Zig is like, the build system is so nice. It's like when I look at a long make file compared to a build file, I'm like, okay, I can kind of read the build file. It's more Englishy, it's better. And then I don't know, I just like Zig a lot. It's I've been messing with it a lot recently. But yeah, both the languages, Rust and Zig, they're solving different problems, I think. But I don't know. Besides that, it's kind of like above my pay grade as well, I would say, because for my real job, I don't use any low level languages at all. It's like as you said, it's like a CRUD monkey.
Go, honestly, for about 95% of things that I want to do. Like, you can do CLIs in Go very nicely. You can do web server very nicely in Go. Like, I would say it's probably one of the nicest languages for web server stuff. And it's fast compared to the web stuff. It's not fast compared to C or Zig or whatever, but I mean, it is like the creators behind Go were, Ken Thompson was one of the people on C.
Founders of C.
Right.
Yeah.
So you had essentially like, hey, we did some things we want to, iterate on and make better in this new language, right? So you have those people that are on the team doing stuff that is, it's very nice to kind of see that full progression of it, I would say.
Right. Yeah, I think Go is also, but it has a garbage collector, right? So it's kind of like a hybrid between, you're basically comparing it maybe to something like PHP or something, or what would you be comparing it to?
I would be comparing it to probably Python and PHP, probably, or even like Ruby or something like that, I would say.
Okay, Ruby. Yeah, because I know a lot of people who like Go. Is it a psyop to think that, is it a conspiracy theory to think that Go is related to Google in any way, or no?
It is heavily related to Google. Yeah, I think it was fully. Are you joking, or are you serious?
I'm being serious. Yeah. I'm being kind of somewhat serious. Like, when I say related to, I mean nefariously in some way. Like, I think, is there? You see what I'm saying, or no?
They had previously built in telemetry.
I like how you asked me, like, are you joking?
No, like, no, because they had built telemetry into it at one point that people were like, "What are you doing?" And they kind of stepped back on that. But I don't really think otherwise there's any. It's hard to say, right? I don't know.
Yeah, but it's a completely. Is it because you're a skeptic? Is it a completely open source? Like, is the source code for Go completely open source? Like,
yes.
I've never. Okay, yes. So everyone can audit it. Like, there's no Bitcoin.
You can go read it. It's on GitHub. It has I think it has 150,000 stars or something. So it's definitely
Golang.
Yeah, it's definitely out there.
So. I don't know what's going on, but like, when I see the word Google, I kind of get like a little bit of an irrational. Whoa, exactly, yeah. Ick, as the 20-year-olds would say. You know what I mean?
The 20-year-old girls.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you, man. I do believe that there is definitely true conspiracy theories out there. So to say, is there nefarious things built into a programming language? I'm just not on the level of literacy to tell you yes or no, I suppose, right?
Because I heard somebody tell me that, like, to prove a point, he said that the compiler, like, basically any language that compiles itself can be like malware, kind of. And I don't really know too much about, like, I didn't do a deep dive on this, but just hearing that, I'm like, okay, I need to read about what he's talking about.
I mean, it would make sense because the compiler could probably at compile time could inject nefarious code, could it not? Like, right?
I don't know, because I don't really know anything about compilers, but it's like, I know that, like,
comments below,
exactly.
This is the thing I love about YouTube. I'm sure you've had this too, but you get people that are way smarter than you commenting on videos,
100%.
And you're just 100%. Like, I mean, it's what brought me back to Emacs, dude, because I made a video about why I left Emacs. And
I saw that. I kind of got sad when you made that video. I'm like, really? Okay.
Yeah. Well, that was a year ago, right? I'm a changed man now. But but
and you had the redemption arc, returning to the Church of Emacs.
Correct. Yes. I was a heretic. I still am a heretic because I use evil mode. But
it's actually funny because I used to watch you like vicariously to be like living Emacs through somebody else. And I'm like, oh, this guy looks like a normal person. Like, he's just a normal guy. Like, no offense. Like, but you know what I'm saying? When you think of an Emacs user, like, GNU Emacs stands for generally not used by anybody except middle-aged computer scientists or whatever.
Somebody with beards that are like this long type of thing.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So when I saw your video, I'm like, oh, this guy looks normal and he's using Emacs. Like, wait, maybe I could try Emacs, you know? So that's kind of what partially got me into it. So I'm like, okay. But then I would just watch from afar, from the shadows, and be like, okay, let's see what he does with Emacs. Then I saw your meditation and, like, you log that you got some decent sleep, I'm like, okay, so he's fully into Emacs.
My daily file.
It's like, let me get half pregnant with Emacs first. Like, let's start with org mode. Let's start with, the org agenda.
You can only be pregnant or not pregnant, as you and I both know. So sorry, you're probably fully impregnated now.
It's a binary. Yeah, it's exactly. Yeah. It's a bool. It's a Boolean.
But on that video of leaving Emacs, I had people in the comments being like, how can you leave Emacs? Like, it's a Lisp interpreter. Like, when you understand what it actually is, because I was using it as a text editor, with some plugins effectively.
It's not a text editor, right?
No, I would say that Emacs is a computer, bro. Like, I would say it is on the level of like, Lisp is a Turing complete language. You can do anything with it, right? So if you wanted that environment to, do whatever, play chess, and people have done that. Play Tetris. Not that really matters, but
the best thing you could do in Emacs is you can open up the E shell, and we can run Vim in the E shell. If you really wanted to. So people say it doesn't have. Everyone says Emacs is really good at everything except it doesn't have a good text editor in it. Well, you actually have Vim available to you, and Nano.
Checkmate.
Yeah, but I like the E shell a lot. I'm sure there's a better shell, but I just like the E shell because for me, in evil mode, it has insert mode enabled into it, so I can just hit escape, and then I've got a keybind to go to the previous buffer, so I'll just go escape and then space BP to go back to where I was.
Yep.
So I can just quickly open up a terminal and then maybe do a git pull. I don't really use Magit or Maggot.
Ooh, you don't use Maggot?
Because I have it, but I just am better and faster on just git command terminal line. You know what I'm saying?
Brother. You have got to use Maggot.
I have used it before. It's nice. You just hover something, stage it, commit it with C, and then push it with P. I like that part of it. But dude, for me, it's just, I don't know what it is about me, but just the way I grew up on Git is I just like to see the command lines and type the git push, git pull, git fetch, git rebase. I just do that.
You don't even use lazy git then, eh?
I've tried it again, but it's one of those, for me, non-zero cost abstraction things that's
gotcha.
I don't need it. I don't want it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
when you get into because if you're doing, let's say because your window manager is probably, you're going to get pull requests on your window manager, right?
Yeah.
Forge and Maggot is pretty nice. You can bring in pull requests. You can say, you can literally you can literally just take your pull requests, fix them, push them back out and say, it's fixed, close it. It's good to go. And I
got to explore that because I've been using GH PR checkout 91 or whatever for just to check out I just manually check it out, and then I just look at the code and I'm like, this sucks. And then I just post I'm like, what's going on here, dude?
LLM generated.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a second too, but I got a pull request about somebody. I think he accidentally made a pull request. I think he forked OXWM and then made a pull request to his own fork, but thought, and then so I'm getting he has no comment messages at all in it. Just he keeps committing to it, and I'm like, what are these changes? And it's an auto start file. It's he's putting his own auto start file into the repo. I'm like, what is this, dude? But yeah, and there's a bunch of comments that look like it was a GPT. And I'm like, what's going on here, man?
Yeah. I mean, with that color scheme, I had so many people pull requesting because I only run a certain very small stack of software, right? So people are IceWM and Z editor and VS code and all this. People are pull requesting for all these different things, and I was like, nice, bring it my way. I will just approve this, and I'm going to read to make sure there's no nefarious colors.
No Bitcoin miners. Yeah,
exactly. But other than that, I'm like, send me your pull requests. There you go.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, actually. I do have a couple guys that made pull requests and fixed actual bugs, and I'm like, it's actually crazy. This whole thing started because I was mad at variable names on some other guy's software.
Yeah.
And then now I'm getting pull requests from people because they're fixing actual bugs. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, shit. Or adding features. People have added features.
Yeah, it's kind of funny coming from a stupid color scheme compared to a full-on window manager, but even just seeing how people contribute to a color scheme is pretty nice.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Have you ever had anybody commit to your push pull requests to your Nix dot files?
No. I was going to ask you about this because I know that this is a thing that people are like, hey.
People do this, dude.
Yeah.
People commit pull requests to personal .file repos.
Never happened to me. No, I will say that.
It's never happened to me either, but I've seen it happen. But one of my friends, he's not even a YouTuber. He's just a guy. And somebody made a pull request to, I'm not saying that YouTubers aren't special or whatever, but he's just a guy. I don't know why I said that, but yeah, he's just a normal plebeian, I guess.
Yeah.
And he's got a .files repo, and he showed me this pull request. And it was somebody adding not a bug fix to his dot files, like adding some opinionated thing to his dot files. And I think it was the same situation where he forked it and then tried to push to his own fork, but just doesn't know how the fork worked.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
I have seen that. Yeah. It's like, and I guess, why would you fork something that you're just going to work on yourself? Like, wouldn't you just clone it and then move on with your own? You know
yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah. Like I've always thought the fork is literally to contribute to the main.
I think so too.
Right.
Yeah, because when I make like, let's say I want to steal someone's work, I'll clone their repo, and then in the description of the readme.org file, not readme.md, but the readme.org, the first line will be like, this was heavily inspired by, and then I'll put the link to the original repo. But that's about it. I'm not going to fork it if I'm not going to submit a PR to it.
You're a readme.org guy too, eh?
100%. And I used to be readme.md, but then like, this is how it all started. Readme.org was how it started for me. I'm like, okay, the org file, you sold me on it. So I downloaded Doom Emacs, and I know that we're getting right into it now. Finally, like an hour in, we're talking about Emacs. I downloaded Doom Emacs because I'm like, okay, let's DistroTube Emacs. Okay, he's like, how to get configured with Doom Emacs. Right. So hey guys, today we're going to talk about Doom Emacs, and here's how you're going to get involved. And then he opens up his Ubuntu VM, and he says, so on Ubuntu here, I'm going to type in sudo apt search Doom Emacs. So I don't find it here, but I'm going to go ahead and github.com, whatever. So I followed his little guide on setting up Doom Emacs.
Yep.
And I've got Doom Emacs all set up. I'm like, this is nice. Feels pretty good. And then like I saw some videos, referenced by System Crafters and you and stuff. And so I'm like looking at some packages like Dear Ed and figuring out how to maneuver around Dear Ed with like HJKL, and stuff. And then all of a sudden I'm writing my own, and all I was doing was writing org mode documents. That's all I cared about. I was like, okay, let me at least make a readme.org, because you can have these to-dos. You can have these nice like section table of contents. Like you can have these nice bullet points. It's just better than MD.
This is how it starts.
I don't even think it's, there's no comparison, right? Isn't org just way better than MD?
I 100% am with you. Yeah.
So then I found out you can actually write code in an org mode snippet, interpret it with Lisp, and turn it into like a babble it, tangle it, whatever, into alacrity.toml can be its own like readme.org self-documenting toml file.
Yep.
So I'm like, okay, that's actually pretty sick. That's powerful. So I did that. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Don't know if I could do this with my whole .file repo, but let's do this for now.
Yeah.
And then you start to say, well, I'm using Emacs.
Just to interrupt you there, I have walked back a little bit. So
you walked it back?
I've walked back on the fully literate Nix config.
But still, if you have like one random .file thing, do you still babble tangle the whole thing?
I would say yes. Like my full Emacs config is literally
2,000 lines or so, or no?
Yeah, about that. But as soon as you go over that, it's not super fun to parse. Specifically with Nix, where there's repetitive stuff in there. So that's where I walked it back. But sorry to interrupt you.
No, and then also, while we're on this tangent, I don't like the fact that you can't like go to reference, go to definition and stuff like that within like a little snippet.
Right.
Yeah. So I think these are really for these little small toml files like alacrity.toml, qtile.config.py or whatever. Like all these, sure, these are all good, but as soon as you get into like a project, like a Nix project, for example, you want to go to a reference or go to definition on like wherever this is defined, because imported somewhere, like you can't do that in a snippet, right? I mean, you probably could.
You can so you can actually open up in like a LSP, like in an LSP derived buffer, you can actually do that. I know that there's some way to do that. Would I do it? I don't know. I think that it gets a little bit too much at a certain point.
Yeah.
I would say.
Once you get on Geeks, you'll probably have that all set up.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably. But then,
so long story medium, I guess. I use the readme.org because I'm like, okay, so everything is going to be an org file for me.
Right.
Like I can do, I saw one of your videos about this. You can set up an agenda, and basically like it's within 2 or 3 like keybinds that you can define them yourselves using parentheses. But like, you can basically say, okay, I want to see my entire agenda. Like this is the dangerous stuff, like urgent. This is like the mid-level stuff. This is like the low level. Yeah. And it's nice. So you can do all that inside of Emacs. And with the readme.org file, like you can put to-do stuff. Like for the OXWM window manager, I've got a section of stuff that's going to be like, future implementation. And I can just mark it as done just by hitting enter in Emacs. And it just really feels really good. And especially with the YouTube workflow. I don't know about you, but a lot of the videos I make, I write a little bit of a script of some sort. So I don't say, so I don't get too far off topic, right, on the video.
Yeah.
I can put that all in a readme.org file and then I have a website. So if I make a tutorial on YouTube, I can push it to a website using Hugo, converting the org file to a Hugo like a HTML static, page, and it's all fully integrated. And then it's I don't know, you can't explain it to people that I guess that don't use Emacs, but it's OP. Just org alone, only org mode. This is nothing else about Emacs.
Org is one of like 7 killer apps of Emacs. 100%.
Yeah.
Like I would say that when org is kind of the gateway drug. I think that a lot of people are like, like I'll use Emacs just for org mode, and then I'll still use NeoVim for my projects and stuff. But I think what happens is that it just pulls you in, and 6 months down the road, you're like, I am reading my email in Emacs. I am doing all of this stuff because you're just seeing how powerful the text workflow is, I would say.
And then you're on IRC with Emacs, talking to degenerates about Mossad and what have you.
Yes. So come join Tony and I on the IRC channel. There'll be a link in the show notes. But yes, 100%.
Technical Renaissance.
Exactly. Yeah. Hashtag technical Renaissance on libera.chat. But yes, I mean, you start to see like the power of text, right? And I think that is we're talking about paradigm shifts. To me, that was another one, was where you start to see the power of text and how that's been abstracted away in the modern computing landscape to you know what I'm saying? You kind of get them? Yeah.
No, I see where you're going with this. And I reflecting on your video that you talked about how like the internet in general and technology has been so bad recently. And you're literally like holding a mic like this. You're like, well, Tony, you don't have to do that. Come join me in IRC.
Yeah.
And then you start going on like it looks like an ad hoc rant about how like, I don't want a subscription to Netflix to only have to see a 1280 by 720 version of what I paid $19.99
That was Louis Rossman, but I mean, yeah.
I'm putting that in your, exactly. I'm putting that in your, because it's in one of those things that you don't want to have to, I don't want to pay $36,000 for a car and then have an ad that gets me in a car accident about Sirius XM. I don't want to have to make a Sirius XM account and log out of it or whatever, right? Yeah. So it's like, but that's all the stuff you're talking about is like, I don't want to have to use Facebook to, everything you're talking about is like kind of what I've been thinking about recently.
Yeah.
And for somebody who likes I'm a software developer, I hate technology. You did not used to be like this. You know what I mean?
Dude, and I feel like it's on us. Like, I think at the end of the day,
it's do better.
It's on the individual to be like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, I just don't want to have a Instagram account where I feel bad, where I log in and see people that are driving Lambos, and I'm, I'm driving my 97 Corolla. Oh,
you have that still?
No. I wish.
I was gonna say.
I honestly, that would be my next car.
That's my Emacs car, right? That's my ThinkPad. That's the ThinkPad of cars.
I don't want computers in my cars. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But no, it makes it harder to repair. You go to the repair shop now, and like they're like, oh, well, now it's going to cost an extra this, that, and the other because we can't just buy a part and just put it in.
Well, we were talking about this on the IRC channel just probably yesterday, but like, I think people in this world they're much inclined towards that self-reliant first principles.
Do it yourself.
First principles type of like living, right? So like the joke is, I'm going to just go buy a farm when this is all done, and you know what I'm saying? Like,
my last video will be stop using computers, and you'll see me in a Luke Smith style,
exactly,
like blazer, like with an Orthodox church like outfit, and I'll say, so. Open the video with like something like, wisdom words and say, all right, so guys, today we're going to do a quick video on how to delete your computer. So the first thing you're going to want to do is sudo rmrf/, and then you're not going to be able to hear this video because it's going to be on the computer, hopefully, that you're watching it on. But at that point in time, you're going to move to an open source and free farm, and then you're going to have to get some chickens, get an organic vegetable garden. You're going to need a diesel tank underneath in case the power goes out, so you can be off grid. You're going to probably want to do, I already have like the whole script written, but I just can't do it yet because I want to get to 100,000 subscribers. So I get that plaque. So I can give that to my son.
Boys. Let's get him there. There you go.
So I'm going to keep making content until I get there, and then give the plaque to my son as a gift, and then boom, stop using computers.
Do you think that's the solution? Because like, I do think that there are obviously, it's kind of like the phone argument, right? Like, the phones suck, but at the same time, there are like benefits to life with them, right? So like, Is there like a fine balance, or is it just like I'm shutting off? I'm gonna go touch grass eternally. I'm gonna join the Orthodox Church. I suggest Catholicism, but we'll get into that later.
We'll get into that, but that's the Vim versus Emacs, the Orthodox versus Catholic. Like this is crazy.
That's the real layers debate. To this. That's the real debate is Catholicism versus Orthodoxy. But
that one's gonna be on Rumble or Patreon. Like we can't talk about that on YouTube.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like, is that the solution, or is it like use this technology to actually better humankind, right?
Well, no, because like you said, I mean, so the phone thing. Let's use that as an example.
Yeah.
I have a flip phone, right? So it's like it's for me. It's like I use the phone because if I go somewhere, I need to be contacted like for emergencies, right? So if my wife wants to call me and tell me something's wrong, like I pick up the phone and say, "Hello, what's wrong?" You know, that I think there's something wrong when somebody calls me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Otherwise, like I'm outside, I'm touching grass for my little bit of time while I'm doing that. I don't want to be bothered or distracted by, as you said, the Lamborghinis, the Andrew Tates of the world on Instagram. I purposely like withdraw consent from all that stuff because I just don't use any of that stuff. So like when somebody tells me, "Oh, this happened, a crazy thing happened about Trump or Twitter," I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, man. And it just feels good to say that because like I really don't know what they're talking about. Yeah. But back to the technology aspect, I don't want my microwave to have like a Wi-Fi on it. I don't need like some app to control my air fryer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people are developing stuff like smart machine, like IoT devices, like I think that's stuff I don't want. You know what I mean? But to an extent, I have a job. I use a computer for work. It's like you kind of, I don't know. Computers are wonderful things. We just have allowed too many. I think we've allowed too much. You know, we as consumers have allowed too many. You know, bad things to come into the computer. I guess, right? So it's like I would blame myself and my fellow consumers of the products, right? So that's why I'm using Linux, and that's why I just don't pay. I withdraw consent from Microsoft and Google and all these. I mean, obviously I have Discord, and I get paid by Google because YouTube is owned by Google, and Google puts ads into my videos, so they send me a paycheck or whatever. Yeah. So it's kind of hypocritical to say that, but yeah, you see where I'm going with this?
100%. I'm right there with you because I do feel like I think Linux was kind of that first. That's almost that first step for a lot of people is that like they're voting with their
dollar.
Well, their dollar, yeah, but like I'm going to go the full open source free software route, and they start to see like how that world is actually better in a lot of ways. You're surrounded by people that are pursuing excellence, I feel like, in this world, and I feel like that is not something that's commonly found in the day-to-day. I said to my girlfriend when I was like, I'm going to hop on this call with Tony. Like, I don't know where else I would meet people like Tony other than YouTube. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know where I would find these people in my day-to-day type of thing. So
yeah, that's the hard part is if you go in real life, you have hobbies and stuff, you're going to meet people that are interested in those hobbies. So for example, if you go to a rock climbing gym, you're going to meet people that are like into rock climbing and maybe adjacent stuff too. But where do you find somebody who has an Emacs literate config, like an Emacs meetup? Like, what are we talking about? You know? Yeah. Like, and I'm not going to go to an Emacs meet. Am I going to go to an Emacs meetup? To be honest with you,
I went to a programming meetup. It was actually pretty cool. But I mean,
was it an Emacs meetup though, or was it a programming?
It was a holistic programming meetup, and there was actually some like because there's in my city we have a game dev company, I guess. And there were some of the guys that came, they were like rock stars, man. It was actually it was interesting to.
Well, then maybe that's what we should be doing is instead of like, cause you're right. I use YouTube as a social media. I don't have social media, but YouTube is my social media. Yeah. So I meet people like you, I meet people like Link Arzu, and I actually got to meet DistroTube through YouTube, which is kind of crazy. Yeah. Cause I literally would watch all of his stuff and like now I get to meet him and I'm like, oh, what's crazy. Yeah. But, you meet people like that. I met Darth, the Linux Renaissance guy. Yeah. And he's just, such an awesome individual. So you meet these people that are like-minded, just like just like you're talking about. And I can't meet these people like at my local gym, but I think there's compartmentalization here going on because I'm sure you've met a lot of individuals at your Catholic church that are also like spectacular people to be around, right? Yep. They feel like different than meeting somebody at, let's say, a club or a nightclub or what have you, right?
What I'm going to say though, is I think that because you are coming at it from a place of like first principles, I think you're coming at it from a deeper point of connection than you would if you're like, you go to the gym and you're like, I can bench 225. Hey, this guy can bench 235. Like, let's be friends. And like that sort of thing. like that sort of friendship is so much more shallow than somebody that's going to build it on a principle. You know what I'm saying? And I think that that's kind of where it's interesting to me that this kind of like, I don't want to say fast tracks a friendship or a relationship, because you're coming at it from the same point of, oh, computers suck nowadays. I also agree computers suck nowadays, but like, what's the solution type of thing? Like, we're talking about like much bigger things right off the bat than you would be with somebody that's like.
That's true. That's true. And there's also some weird parasocial component to it, because before you knew who I was, I knew quite a bit about you because of how many videos you had made. And so we didn't have to do that foreplay of, oh, like, what's your favorite distro? Or like, oh, like, do you like Linux? You know, like we just dropped straight into, and then you joined that call with Link, and then we were just 2v1ing him immediately. I'm like, okay, this guy's my ally. So we already had like all that stuff taken care of. You know what I mean? So it's like, you can't, at a party, if I walk up to some guy like, and I have to ask him, okay, so let's see, are you a Mac guy, Windows guy? They're like, what are you talking about, man? Mac, Windows? Oh, for computers? Like, oh, I've got a MacBook. Yeah, but why? You know, it's like, that's a whole different, you know? Yeah.
Tony does real good at parties.
Exactly. But no, I do like to sit down with folks and play board games and stuff. But again, and I like these people, but you got to admit the truth out there is that like you get into this world of board games, of nerdy stuff, and you get into the problem of quickly that you realize is that these places, they don't enforce the deodorant rule, which I think that's my rule. Is like, you got to wear deodorant to come over to my house, you know, as a male. And it's a big issue. And I used to play Smash Bros, and I used to go to these Smash tournaments. And the first thing that I would notice is I'd walk in and it would smell like a 7th grade, like locker room, you know? And I'm like, guys, we're better than this. We need to do better as a community. Like, do we have to hand out deodorant at the doors? You know? So, but you see what I'm saying or no?
A little bit. Yeah. Like I feel like you come at these relationships are built on like just something that's stronger than shared interest. I think that's kind of the big thing. It's almost based on philosophy, I would say. Yeah. So like when I'm talking to people in my IRC channel, for example, like I feel like I'm talking to myself a lot of the time, because like these people have come to the same conclusions that I have over, you know, the years of being like, modern computing sucks. Like, where else can I look? What else can I do? How can I like avoid the downfall? You know, like how can I, and that sort of thing, it raises this almost like philosophical underpinning and shared ground that you both walk on. It's very interesting to me. Like, and
you can't find that like in real life, right?
Almost because like never, right? Like I think the only place, and I mean, I think that, for example, you go to a church and you meet somebody there, like you're coming at it from, again, a philosophical point of
acceptance agreement. Yeah. There's principles.
There is that shared ground that you're on, right? The issue is that I think a lot of the time in the modern world, like relationships are almost transactional. Right, like
100%. Even between family members.
Yeah, like what can I get out of this guy? What's my inheritance when this guy died? No, like you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like it. For me, I think that the relationship is just like, it's just built on something that's like much higher up already. I don't know how else to convey it.
But you're starting at like basically 5 years of work has already been done for you, because for the IRC channel, for example, you've already filtered down these people, because first of all, they have to know how to use IRC, right? Exactly. So even knowing that's going to stop the trolls from coming in. Yeah. Because the trolls are going to come in and say, well, isn't X11 better than Wayland? Or like, what about System D? And can I use Run It? Like I mean, those are great topics, and I'll discuss them with you. But if you're just going to come in it, you know, with bad faith, and just say like, and just repeat talking points that you heard on Reddit or whatever. Like, if somebody actually tells me what they don't like about System D and they can articulate it correctly, and they're like, okay, and I'll agree with them. I'll say, okay, for your case, S6 is better, or maybe Run It's better, right? But you know, you get those trolls that come in 99% of the time, and they just say, you know, Wayland is the future, and X11 is bloated, and all this crap. And then of course you get the politics aspect too, because you got people trying to inject politics into the software, and they're telling you, oh, but that's so and so is like is a right winger, and but he's using the software, or so and so made that, and he's like a left winger, and you shouldn't be using software because of that. I'm like, it's software though, right? I mean, why do we care about it?
Yeah, you have to get above it, and I think that's why I did the IRC channel, is because I was like, I don't want to do a Discord channel where, you know, like I don't want to like bad talk people, but like the lowest common denominator, that's accessible to, right? Right.
Yeah.
Whereas,
I would say that's the YouTube comment section.
honestly, man, I get some really good comments.
Your comments are based, and mine are too. Actually, I get pretty good comments too. But you ever open up like the YouTube comment section and you just see like from somebody else's channel, you're like, what is going on here? It's like unfiltered. I love it though. As a non-censorship guy, I love the fact that they don't, like on Reddit, you only see the thing that's upvoted the most,
right? And
they purposely like hide things from you. Like you have to go click view all. You have to like sort it in a way to see like the best comments. You can't see like you're going to see what they want you to see. I think for some reason that's why I don't like Reddit. It's like a too echo chambery of a place.
It's very curated. You know what I mean? I would definitely agree with you. So
yeah,
but yeah. How are you for time, by the way? Because
pretty good. I mean, like 30 minutes or so. I mean, like you mentioned.
Yeah. I'm just checking if there's anything else that I wanted to mention. But yeah, no, it is kind of, I don't know how to convey it because like it's kind of this new. It's this thought that's kind of entered my mind recently. It's like, is it because you're coming at a like a human relationship from just a higher place of, I don't want to say consciousness or something like that, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're coming at it from a shared understanding, I suppose. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of things that you and I have in common that I knew about before, like because your life is pretty public. Like you've got your blog and you've got your YouTube channel, but even if you didn't have that stuff and I met you and I got to know you a little bit without you have telling me those things, I probably would have been able to intuit this guy probably like is kind of into this, that, and the other, and I could probably guess that stuff about you. Yeah. And I think that there's certain, I don't know if you've ever experienced this, but have you ever like met somebody 1 in 1,000 and you meet him and you're like, this guy actually maybe he's a Nix OS user in real life, you know what I mean, or something like that, you know what I mean?
No.
Yeah, exactly. It's never happened. No, I'm serious. That's why I asked that because it's never happened. But
actually, like, the saddest. I'll tell you something. There's a story. I was in a coffee shop sitting next to a guy, and he was using like Ubuntu or something, right? And I turn over to him and I look at him. And I'm like, hey, like Linux, like that. And it was like the saddest interaction because like I don't think he even knew he was running Ubuntu.
Really?
It was so sad because I was like, hey, like this guy could be my friend, and it was just like, who is this idiot? That's what I'm talking about. So it was pretty funny.
Yeah. Do you have any of your family members on Linux, like your mom or your grandparents or anything like that?
So I moved my mom to Fedora. So
nice.
She's running Fedora at home.
Nice.
Because all she does is email and
check email on the browser,
right? And she had Windows on it and was hating her life. And I was like, here we go. I will fix your computer for you.
There you go.
My brother actually just recently is running Ubuntu on a ThinkPad T480 I gave him.
Okay.
So he's starting down the. It's kind of.
So you are an evangelist in some small way.
A little.
You want to help people.
I think that honestly, man, like I think at the end of the day, like you want what's best for people, even though they don't know what it is. I suppose. Yeah. Like, I think that's kind of the thing is like, I could not be a loving individual and tell you to run Windows 11.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
I can't co-sign that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I know exactly what you're saying. And it's tough to debug things on Windows 11 computers because I look at it, I'm like, I don't want to see another Candy Crush ad. I don't want to see this Copilot thing. Like, I don't know. I'm just like, dude, I debloat this, Yeah. But I put my grandma on Mint because she had lost like thousands of dollars to like some scammers out of Kolkata with the, PayPal, Walmart stuff. I don't know if you're familiar with that stuff.
Not super, but yeah.
Basically, they use a program called AnyDesk to like have her, and they call her and they tell her and convince her that it's like she's
remote control, like a remote desktop. Yeah.
So I put her on Mint, and for whatever reason, ever since that happened, like it doesn't. Whenever they call her, they just can't get it to work on it. I guess so. I think we're fine for now. But I was just like, you know what? Let's put you on Mint for now, and then I'll just change all of your icons. And I'll change your theme to make it look like you're back on Windows, and you won't even notice. Yeah. And she didn't even notice. She just uses her browser to check her email. She plays solitaire.
Yep.
So it's.
And honestly, man, like I think that's the thing is that you come to realize that like 90% of people that use a computer use it as a
bootloader for Google Chrome. Yeah. So we just need to get them off of Google Chrome and onto de-Googled Chromium, and then we'll be. But a lot of people don't care.
What's that?
A lot of people don't care that they're getting spied on, by the way. Do you think that What's your thoughts on that? You ever meet somebody in real life that like kind of defends and argues for the pirates, the spying and all that stuff? Just so weird.
I have, yes. I have met people that are like, I have bigger fish to fry than like my privacy or,
or like they ever ask you, well, if you're not doing anything illegal, like, why do you care about privacy?
I have had that.
You're like, what makes you think I'm not doing anything illegal? You know, no, I'm just kidding.
I have had that as well. And I think that, I think the answer to those people is like, yeah, at the moment you're not, but at the same time, like, you know what I mean? Like,
who decides what's legal? Who determines that?
That could be redefined tomorrow. And your previous activity therefore could be, deemed not suitable,
not memory safe, and therefore you're not allowed to use C23. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. So like even the fact that there is a like an Intel level backdoor into the CPU of essentially every computer today, like even that doesn't sit well with me, right? So
Alex Karp has all of my information, and I can't stop anything from that. You know what I mean? Like that's so sad. Yeah. But I gotta figure out a way to like Libre boot or something. Maybe, I don't know. We gotta go full flex. But then I can't use. Okay, I can't. There's going to be no YouTube channel. There's so many. If you want to be full, you got a full product, full send. There's no YouTube channel.
I was going to say BSD. How was that? Because BSD is kind of that is effectively the final boss. I would
the final boss, if you will call it that. Yeah.
I would say that going to a BSD is kind of saying like, I am going to go touch grass, and this is going to be, you know what I'm saying?
BSD is pretty much the exit of you're withdrawing consent fully, but then also, why not just take the next step and just put your computer in? No, just take the next step and just put your computer in the dumpster.
Yeah, I suppose,
like I don't know. Have you ever done a week of no computing? Like when's the last time you honestly went a week without a computer or a smartphone?
Oh, when I injured myself in 2013, I want to say I was in the hospital.
Okay.
But I mean, still, I had the smartphone, so I guess not even. Sadly, you know what? I was on a cruise in 2014, and there was no internet, and for 2 weeks, I did not have any internet access. I had no phone, no computer, nothing. And to be honest with you, dude, I got off that vacation, and I felt like I was Superman. Did
you feel detoxed?
I had so many ideas. I had so many things I was going to do. And then I opened up the smartphone and it was all gone.
Yeah.
And I honestly, man, I do think back to that moment very frequently. And I'm like, maybe there is something there. Maybe there is.
Yeah. I think like it's a good idea to every once in a while, take a day if you can. Like if you don't have a job that's connecting you to a computer, or even just make a limit saying, okay, I'm only going to do things for my job. I'm not going to open up YouTube. I'm not going to open up anything extraneous to my job. Yeah. And then as soon as I log it off, I'm done with my computer. I'm done with my phone, and then or whatever. Or then take the whole weekend and just say no technology for the whole weekend. Just it feels so good to just like
every Sunday.
Yeah. There you go. Okay, that's true. Yeah. How's that feel then? How does that work out for you?
I think it's needed, man. I think that there's just so much. I feel like there's just so much chatter that is not my own that's injected into me via the internet. So I need that like there's no other way to have silence nowadays, but completely logging off and just saying I'm not
unplugging.
Exactly. Like I think that there is no other way to get that internal silence nowadays. And I think honestly, man, I would say that 95% of people never experience that. And
have you ever gone to a grocery store nowadays and you see like, I don't have a smartphone or whatever, so I just go in there and all I see are people doing this.
Yes. Yeah.
And I feel like Superman because I can see everything around me and nobody can see me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I can walk in front of people, they won't even notice, and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry." I'm like, "Oh, it's okay." It's just like I'm like, no problem. It's crazy. Like literally, like next time anybody is watching this video, go to the supermarket, go to the bank, and just don't bring your phone and just look around and just observe and like it's just everyone's just gonna be like, you know what I'm saying? And like, oh, I'm sorry about that. It's like they're glued to it, dude. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I mean, I find it super sad that the average person doesn't get that anymore, right? Like,
yeah.
And only 15, 20 years ago, like that would have been the
that's the gold standard.
It would have been the norm, right? Like you know, like I'm not contactable all hours of the day type of thing. You know, like people actually have to pick up the phone and call me type of thing. And I don't know, man. I feel like going back to that way of life is They're certainly beneficial.
It's sort of like somebody had asked on your IRC kind of channel, what mobile client for IRC do you guys suggest? And I was just like, you don't want to be on an IRC you don't want a mobile client. You want to be IRC like when you're on your computer. And then when you're not on your computer, you don't want to be talking to people online. Yeah. Like go talk to your kids, go talk to your wife. If you don't have a wife or kids, go get a wife and then go have kids, and then talk to them. You know what I mean? Like,
this is the video we got to send people to. No, but
yeah, this is the next chapter, I guess. Yeah, we could dive right into this. Yeah.
The only issue that I have with IRC before we touch on that is that people don't realize that it's not like Discord. So like you need to idle on it. You actually have to like set up a bouncer so that you can always be present on it. So you can see when you go back to your computer, you can actually see the chats, because everybody like hops in there and they say hi and they don't get a reply in 5 minutes and they hop out. And it's like, well, that's not how you use IRC. IRC has classically been this thing that you're always connected to on your machine. You step away, you go AFK as the kids would say.
Actually, that's more of an adult thing, I would say. AFK is more like...
I suppose, yeah. Kids don't get to go AFK, I suppose, right?
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
Well, you have a son, so like, how are you going to deal with technology with your son? That is a good question, I would say.
Yeah, that's the thing is I've already started him on C. So his first language was assembly, and then we're going alphabetical order. So assembly, and then I guess basic, and then C.
Yeah.
So I guess next would have to be D, and then Erlang. Or ELISP, I guess, would be E, right?
You're going to do skip C++?
Because it's one letter. We have to pick one language per letter.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'm picking the best one per. So if you go A through Z, you get like assembly, basic, C, and then I guess for E, it would be ELISP, right? D for D.
ELISP works, yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess for F, Fortran, you go down that route, Sure. But no, everything's for him. So far, no technology, but he's only 7 months old. You know what I mean? I mean, he has technology. I mean, he's got little toys that light up and stuff, and he's got little toys like that. But I'm not 100% like I don't believe 100% that like all screens are evil. So like I think there's a aspect of it where it's like what's on the screen, like what do you So if you have like somebody watching, like for example, you probably watched TV as a kid. I don't know if you.
I did
back when. So if you watched a TV show, it'd be like an hour-long thing, maybe like Blue's Clues or something like that, where you had to start and then the end, and like you had to kind of pay attention the whole time.
Yeah.
But nowadays, these people are watching these 10-second TikTok reels, and like it's the next one. Yeah. I think their brains are literally getting like, I don't know, attention cooked, if you will. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not sure 100% where we're going to go with it. As far as a phone, like I pretty much don't want to give him a phone until he's like in middle school or high school. Yep. And then the phone will only act as a purpose is be like a flip phone, dumb phone, just so I can call him. And so or he can call me for an emergency. But I don't know. I also at the same time, I don't want him to be like the only person, in his entire school with like without a phone. And then everyone else is making fun of him because he's like, his dad is like a boomer or whatever, or not boomer, but like, boomer in the woods or whatever. But it's like, I don't know. It's a complicated question, I guess. So, at that point in time, it's going to be so different, because everyone's going to not only have a phone, but they'll have like that chip in their brain and everything. And he's opting out of that for sure. So
I would say you should opt out of that. Yeah. If you have the choice. So.
Yeah. But what about you with technology with the kids?
She's older than your son. So she's like, we did no screens until she was like, I mean, we went on a overseas flight. So that was probably like the first time that she got like a screen. And we use it strategically. So like, I feel bad about doing this sometimes, but like you're in a restaurant and like she's, like wanting to, it's almost bedtime, but you got to stretch it. You give her, like the Wiggles video or something and like chill her out for another 10 minutes, 20 minutes type of thing. But I'm with you that we didn't really, it was definitely a thing that like we were very conscious of and like didn't want to start her on it until like 16, 18 months type of thing. Like I think there's actually studies that even up to 2 years, you don't really want your kid in front of a screen. And I think it has to do with first of all, I think that there's a massive rate of ADHD in
100%.
In children. And I don't think that it's related to anything else besides screen use. Like I actually think screen use and ADHD is essentially a correlative type of thing. Right. So I see it myself, man. Like I think that even like if there's a day where I'm being an idiot on my phone, I don't have the attention span. It's like I need to detox from it to be able to have that attention span again. So there has to be something there, I would say. The phone thing is like, yeah, I would never really want having a phone, but yeah, I think you become the weird kid then. Like you become the.
Yeah, but there's solutions to that nowadays. A lot of schools are actually like kind of, I don't know about, because you live in the Communist Party of Canada, so I don't actually know if sorry, the People's Republic of Canada. I don't actually know, but we'll get into that. We'll edit that out or whatever, or we'll get into it later. But so you live in Canada, so I don't know. But there's some schools that are opening up where there's policies where it stands like we're doing no phone policy, where like you can bring a phone to school, but you gotta like check it into a locker or something like that, and so that you can't have the phone in class and like you can't have it at lunch and stuff. I don't know how that's going to work out, but it's basically to solve that problem of where you don't have to worry that you're the only parent because a lot of parents don't want their kids to have a phone. Yeah. I think a lot of parents just don't say that. I don't know. But, and again, it's not even just the phone. It's more like if they have a smartphone, they have immediately access to, these Instagram accounts. And this is where you're talking about this, the unaliving rate. I don't know how to say the word without getting the YouTube. Yeah. So that's going up in kids. And like, you're seeing the correlation because of these social media apps and their distortion of their own perception and their distortion of reality based on the filtering of these images, showing other people doing like you said earlier, the Lamborghinis and stuff like they probably rented for the video. Yeah. And it's just unhealthy stuff, so you don't want that. I don't think you want that around kids.
I feel like the access to the internet should be like, I almost do feel like the access to the internet should be like on a communal computer in the household type of thing. Like I don't really want somebody like the fact that you can run off to your bedroom with your screen into the World Wide Web is to me not the best thing, even for somebody, an adult, right?
Even me, even adults. Like you can waste so much time on a computer if the door's closed. You're just like, okay, let's read the entire Rust language manual. Okay, let's have on another monitor. Let's read the Zig documentation. Let's watch both at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's open another video. It's like too much dopamine at one point in time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so 100%. And I feel like that even in and of itself, like we as adults, like probably shouldn't be doing it. So as a child, like. I don't know, man. Obviously it's my daughter's only 3, so she's got.
We'll see where we're going. That's what I'm saying. We'll see where it goes with this, right? Because I mean, it's a new generation, right? So we'll see what happens. But when I grew up, I played a lot of Final Fantasy VII and Pokemon Blue version. So I learned a lot of English from those games because my brothers had like, I basically was really young when I was playing them, and my teachers told my parents that I had like a high reading capability. And my theory is that it's because I played those games so much that I was like reading the text and having to read all the information and say, okay, does this piece of armor, like, is it actually an upgrade for this character, for the Final Fantasy side of things, at least. Yep. And like, okay, like, is this better? Like I have to do some calculations here. Like I'm 4 or 5 years old and I'm trying to figure out like, but I'm reading so much English. I'm reading the whole story, the quests. Yeah. And I think that actually helped me. And so I don't know, like about the games nowadays, like the Robloxes of the world, like I don't think that's actually what they're doing now. But if I could get my son to play like, because I have one of those old school, RuneScape, if you will, yeah. I have an old school emulator machine that looks like a Game Boy. I can just give him that, and he could play Pokemon or whatever. And like, I'm totally fine with him like wasting an hour on that, and like as long as I think that he's in some way like learning some English at least, and like messing around with and having fun. Like I want him to have fun, So play games with dad,
No fun.
Yeah, no fun.
No fun.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you on that. I feel like games nowadays too, though, are like they're kind of like movies nowadays, in that there's no storyline to them. They're very like dopaminergic hits. Yeah. Like they're just hits into your arm type of thing. Whereas I feel like games when we were growing up were those like grinds. Like talk about grinds, like RuneScape, man. Like learn how to type, buying GF, like all that sort of thing, right? Like like that's
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like there were things to learn on these games, right? So
that joke time traveled a little bit. It's 2027. But yeah, no, definitely. Like, yeah, and especially like in my teenage years when I was playing Dota a lot, I had to learn how to type to like talk trash between last hits. So like somebody would say something, so I had to like get my typing speed really fast between last hits, and I think that's what's made me so fast at typing. You know,
I remember, when I used to game, I remember typing on a mechanical keyboard, and somebody like was like, "Whoa, man, you can type fast," and I was like, "Yeah, I can."
yeah, like it's kind of a crazy thing. Like everybody at work is like blown away about my typing speed. I'm like, it's not that I'm nothing compared to these people I know that post their records online and stuff. But yeah,
100%. So I'm just, did you have anything else you wanted to touch on? But I think I hit all of my points.
I was going to ask you, man, like, how did you get into, briefly, I guess, like you mentioned before to me that you started on Fedora. Is that correct?
No.
Or did you start on Manjaro?
I started with Arch. I busted that. So it's a bit of a long story, but I built a computer in 2016, and I was like, that was the first computer I ever built. So like started a little bit late.
2016, i5 4690K?
No, i7 6770K or
6770K?
6700K, I want to say.
Okay.
16 gigs of RAM.
DDR4?
Yes, and 180. Not a what's the
1080.
1080. Sorry.
Yeah.
1080.
GTX 1080.
1070. Sorry, 1070, not a 1080.
1070. Okay.
I was not running a 1080. My goodness. 1070.
Yeah, that would be like $800 at the time, I think.
So I started with Windows, and I was like, this sucks. And within 6 months, threw Arch Linux on that thing. Borked my computer.
Arch Minimal or Manjaro?
Yeah. Arch Minimal was the first distro.
You went straight from Windows 10 to Arch to just Arch?
Arch was the first distro I installed on that machine.
How did you go on YouTube and find like search like best Linux?
There was like
what popped up?
There was like 2 videos at the time of like how to install Arch Linux, and I got it running over a weekend of not sleeping, and I borked the machine probably about a week later. My X11, my X11 was just not working, and I had a black screen, but you could obviously have recovered from there, but I obviously did not know how to. So I reinstalled, and then Manjaro came along because that was the easy install. And I used Manjaro for a couple of years, went back to Arch.
Installed Arch Linux. Your first distro is Arch Linux. That's crazy.
Distro. And then I moved over to Endeavor when that was a thing, because it was kind of the minimal Arch install. And then Fedora for about a year, and then Nix as of about 6 months ago. And I don't really see myself switching away from
Geeks, and then Geeks eventually, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know though, because there's so much niceties with Nix that I don't want to learn from a different standpoint. You know what I mean?
That's my thought as well. Is I feel like there's more investment in the Nix world. Like I think that like it was a real question for me of like Geeks versus Nix, and I think the selling point was that there's just a much larger community. Like there's just there's more places to go when you have a problem.
That actually is a good point. Since there is such a large community in Nix, you should go to Geeks. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just messing. I'm messing. That's cool, man. That's crazy that you went from Windows 10 to Arch Minimal straight up. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a very, very large learning curve. We'll put it that way. But
yeah. All right, man. Well, I was happy to sit down with you, and looking forward to next time we do this. We got to do maybe a special episode where we kind of talk a little bit more uncensored. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, maybe we'll put it on our Patreons.
Or something, dude. Yeah, get into something a little bit non-tech related, if you will. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we touched on a little bit, but yeah, like we could definitely go.
That's exactly right. We touched on a little bit, but you can't go farther. You know what I mean?
Merry Christmas to you, though, and
yeah, man. Merry Christmas. Right back at you.
Yeah, let's do this again in 2028, right? So
100%. 2028. We got to get it going.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, man.
Cheers.
Have a good one.
Thanks for chatting, man.
Yeah, you too. I'll just literally do a quick warm up while he's like talking to me. I'm like just doing a warm up set, you know. And he's like,
actually, the mic works pretty good when you're far away too. So.
Really?
Yeah, it works.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. But yeah, I'll have a home gym because it's better that way. I feel.
Just leave the light on like that. That looks perfect. It's a perfect shot.
Okay, we'll leave the light on.
That looks amazing.
Let me see. Is there anything damning back there?
No, I don't think so. I think you're
good. Yeah. Cool.
Just the woman's bar instead of the.
I do have. How do you know about that?
I lift. I used to lift.
I was gonna say you're just shoot. How do you know there's a women's bar there?
I know things.
Because that's an Ohio Power Bar, and then the one above it is my wife's.
Is the women's bar? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, right on, man. Do you have a home gym, or do you just kind of like?
I have like bumper plates. I would love to get a setup like that. That's perfect. Like that would be. Yeah. I have just like I have the bar. I have some bumper plates for doing deadlifts, and I have a spin bike and a pull-up bar.
You have a spin bike. So okay, so I have a overclocked bike. You can't see it, but I'll show you. I have that bike right there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I have a bike, and I like to I do a lot of climbing. So see if you can see that. If I go like that, you can see there's a little hangboard right up there.
Nice. That's
so I just got like, yeah. But ever since I've had the little one 6 months ago, I haven't really lifted weights that much because all my free time goes into like writing that window manager, creating YouTube content, working, on my Emacs config.
Yeah. Spending time with your son? Like what?
No, that's not even in the cards. Yeah. That's not even a possibility. You know what I mean? That's bloated, if you will.
I'm just going to go close my door. I'll be right back. And then
do your thing.
And we can
I'll start OBS. Okay. I'll start OBS.
I'm recording you right now. So
perfect.
You got my door. Thank you. There you go. I don't even have to do
audio. I disabled desktop audio.
Oh yeah, yeah. And do the mono thing. Otherwise, you'll be left ear sensitive like me.
Let me see. Test.
That's what the issue was. Is I didn't put it on mono.
Right.
And yeah. Oh, my left ear. Well, yeah. Need to record on mono, idiot Josh. Jeepers. We're gonna get kicked off Jitsi. But
I deleted that. Let me open that with PC Man FM to see what's going on there. I've got so much shit open, dude. I found a memory leak in my window manager.
No way.
Yeah. Like, so I've been
is it AUXWM or OXWM?
Both.
Okay.
Both works. Yeah. Actually, the logo is an aux.
Yeah.
Because that's how you say it, but then it's OX. I say OX, but
yeah,
it's oxidized because it's written in Rust or whatever. But I don't care about that. It's funny though. Okay, let's see. Walls, Tony. By the way, tutorials. Okay, I think that's gonna go into my BSD folder. Dude, BSD hype, bro. You said this dance, dude. Your comment blew up.
I did see that. I was like, holy! It's one of the best like ratios I've ever gotten on a comment.
Yeah,
we'll chat about that too. I have notes on all this, dude.
It sounds pretty good, actually. The recording sounds pretty good on my end. So we'll just have 2 backups because we're software engineers.
Absolutely.